Okay, so one of the biggest moves the Minnesota Vikings made this offseason was signing defensive tackle to fill in for Linval Joseph, Michael Pierce. Now, last year in 2019, the Minnesota Vikings run stopping game was awful. I think they ranked like 17th, which isn't that bad. They did better than a lot of teams. But when you really look at it, the running is what the Vikings really needed to stop. So they brought in Michael Pierce, who was a great run stopper with was it Baltimore Ravens? Who was Michael Pierce with? I think it was Baltimore Ravens that Michael Pierce was with. I might be wrong there, but to fill in for Linval Joseph Verove. Now, of course, Linval Joseph was my favorite player, so when they got rid of him, I was a little bit disappointed, but I understood the decision because Linval Joseph was really bad against the run last year. Now, prior years from that, he was great against the run. A huge, heavy player just stopping the run all the time, and he was able to get to the passer too. We had no interior rush last year. Again, this year, I don't think we're going to have a great interior rush, but I'm not very worried about that because we do have Danielle Hunter still on the edge. We still have Afadio Denebo on the edge. So I don't care a lot about that. I mean, we can blitz Anthony Barr as well. We can blitz Harrison Smith still. So we're going to be able to get to the passer. Now, Michael Pierce is supposed to bring that run-stopping game to the Minnesota Vikings defense, but this is a big blow to our team. Michael Pierce has not dropped out. He opted out of the 2020 season for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, you can't be mad at him. I mean, because of the coronavirus thing, there's a lot of people opting out. Michael Pierce was the only one from the Minnesota Vikings that has opted out so far. I think he will be the only one that will because he has the asthma stuff and he can die from it. So, of course, he's going to opt out. I mean, he has to. You can't be mad at him for that. But, of course, this happens to us. Of course, this happens to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, last year, the Vikings were awful against the run. Like I said, now getting rid of Linval Joseph was a great decision, although he was my favorite player. Still, it was a great decision. There's another player on the defensive interior line that we have to also get rid of so we can bring that run stopping. Shamar Stephen. No one's talking about this. Shamar Stephen was awful last year. He did terrible last year, and I want to see his role replaced by someone else. Now, who's going to replace Michael Pierce? Who will replace Michael Pierce? I don't know who's going to replace Michael Pierce. Anyways, whatever. The Vikings ranked 17th last year against the run, and it needed to get better for this 2021 or 2020 season. And of course, this happens to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, on our defensive line, how is our defensive line going to look? I want to see Armon Watts played more. Armon Watts was drafted in 2018, in the 2019 draft, and that was a great pick for the Minnesota Vikings. I think 6th round. He came in and was a filler piece. Filling him in for Shamar Stephen will bring that run-stopping game that we need because Shamar Stephen, awful against the run. Linval Joseph played bad against the run last year. To see Jaleel Johnson fill in for Michael Pierce now that he's dropping out is going to be a little interesting. I liked how Jaleel Johnson did look last year. However, he didn't look like a starter. Nothing about him looked like a starter. Michael Pierce was going to be that player that the Vikings needed. One of the only moves we made this offseason, one of the only moves the Minnesota Vikings have made besides in-house signings was grabbing Michael Pierce, which was a great signing. Now, it doesn't look that good. So what is it? There's good coming out of this, though. It is going to free up some cap space for the Minnesota Vikings because it's going to cut down his signing bonus. No, he has a signing bonus, of course, but his year is going to be a third of what he's actually should have been paid. So what could this mean? Maybe bringing back Dalvin Cook. I don't know. I don't know if Dalvin Cook is going to play back. I think I'm calling BS on Dalvin Cook holding off. I do not think he's going to hold off for another contract. He's going to go to training camp, or even if he's not going to training camp, he's going to play. Dalvin Cook is going to play. I don't care what anyone says. That's BS. He's trying to get another contract. That's him just manipulating the Vikings to get another contract. There's no reason for him not to play. If he wants another contract, okay, you can hold off, but where is that going to bring you? He wants another contract in 2021, doesn't he, with another team? What are they going to go by? He hasn't played an entire season his full career, and he's not going to get as big of a contract if he holds off because people aren't going to know how he's going to play. I mean, you want to if you're going to pay Dalvin Cook, you want to know that he can stay healthy. And in 2021, if he leaves the Minnesota Vikings, where is he going to go? Who's going to sign him? He's not going to get as big of a contract as he would like. So this could mean Dalvin Cook is coming back to the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think that Dalvin Cook is going to play an amazing season in 2020, though. If the season goes full, I think Dalvin Cook is going to have a great season, and that's going to be because he is looking for that 2021 contract, so he's going to play really well and probably going to be signed from a team in 2021, whether that's the Vikings or some other team. But I'm calling BS on him holding off. I don't think that's going to happen. What this could also mean is bringing Everson Griffin back. This has now a possibility that I'm seeing that I didn't see before. Now, Danielle Hunter and Afadio Denebo on the outside, I really like that decision. I think that's a great spot for them. However, bringing Everson Griffin back, because Everson Griffin, although maybe on paper he didn't look like a great player last year, he was a great player last year. A lot of pressures leading to Danielle Hunter's sacks. He would make the quarterback move around. Danielle Hunter would sack him. It seemed like that happened every play. Now, if you have Everson Griffin, you bring him back with Danielle Hunter on the outsides. We know that's going to work. It's worked the last 5 seasons. You can play Fadi Odenigbo on the inside. Now, that's what we need right now is players on the inside. Fadi isn't much of a run stopper. He's more of an interior pass rusher if you play him on the inside. But still, we'll take it. We'll take it. We need all the defensive linemen we can have right now. I was saying the biggest need for the Minnesota Vikings this offseason. That was like one of my first videos I made. Oh, I should probably not talk that loud. That was one of the first videos I made, was talking about the Minnesota Vikings offseason needs. And I said the biggest need was a interior linemen, people that can stop the run and people that can get to the quarterback on the interior side of the line. And that's what Michael Pierce was going to bring to the Vikings. Now, him opting out is a big blow to us, but really, you can't be mad at him. You can't. It's a very understandable decision, and it's going to have a big impact on the Minnesota Vikings defensive line. I want to see Armon Watts play more. I thought he was great against the run last year. I thought he was great against the line. Jaleel Johnson, I don't know much about him. I think he was great last year, and I want him to see on the roster again, but having him as a starter, I don't know how that's going to look. Jalen Holmes is another player to watch out for. Jalen Holmes was a player last year that came in and was also looking good. A lot of the bench players for the defensive line was looking pretty good last year, and now bringing in a lot more players, mostly edge rushers they brought in, but they did bring in one interior defensive lineman, James Lynch. They did bring in James Lynch. I would like to see him play. Now I think he is going to be in the active roster. I was having him probably going to be on the practice squad for the first part of the season and then maybe move to the active roster. Now that Michael Pierce is holding off or opting out of the season, I do think James Lynch is going to be on the defensive lineman. He's an interior defensive tackle. Watch out for James Lynch. Get to know that name because I want to see him play. Watch out when he comes on to the field. Watch what he can do because maybe he could be a starter in the future. I don't know. I like the way he looked in college, and we need all the help we can get on the defensive line, really. A lot of our defensive starters are just defensive line starters outside of our edge rushers. They're just okay. They're just good backups. I mean, we have a lot of depth in our defensive line and our offensive line, not big starters. That's what Michael Pierce was going to bring to the Vikings. I was excited to see it. What can you do now? I don't know. I think our defensive line is still not going to be that great against the run, which is going to kind of suck because we don't know how our corners are going to look. We know our linebackers and safeties are going to look good. Our linebackers and safeties are obviously going to look good. I want to see how those new safeties look. They drafted a lot of new safeties. It's going to be interesting to see how they look because I don't think Anthony Harris is going to be with the Vikings for more than one more season. So